government will not renew its agreement with Cuban doctors who were brought in the country to fill gaps in the county hospitals 6 years ago. Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha has announced. The Cabinet Secretary confirmed this after a pre-national dialogue conference on human resource for health hosted at a Nairobi hotel. This means that local doctors will step up and fill the gap that the Cuban health practitioners moved in to fill after doctors led a strike that paralyzed health services across the counties. Here is more. The 2017 agreement between Kenya and Cuba actualized an engagement program where the Cuban doctors would provide assistance in Kenyan hospitals and Kenyan doctors would go to Cuba for specialized training. Nakhumicha was the main speaker during the pre-national dialogue on human resource for health in Nairobi.
And on that note, I'm pleased to announce that we shall not be renewing the agreement for the Cuban doctors, because I want to believe that our very own are going to be committed to the cause.
The agreement between Kenya and Cuba, signed during former President Uhuru's tenure in power, was marred in controversy as local health practitioners opposed the move. They had decried being sidelined, arguing that they have the capacity to do everything that their Cuban counterparts could do, stating that they only lacked the necessary medical equipment and remuneration to perform their activities.
Why would a government help another country to create employment for their citizens when their own citizens don't have employment? Does it make sense?
The move only acts to cool some of the pressure the government has endured from the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union that has agitated for employment of local doctors for long.
That was signed. Of course, it had its end time, its expiry, which is coming up. So we are relying on the expiry period as well as the mechanisms that were put within the contract on what happens at the expiry period. And that is what we are working on. So we are also preparing ourselves that during this time, we have also been able to build capacity. You remember the government sent out some officers who went to Cuba to train. They are now back. We have been sending specialists for training. Most of them are now graduating. So we have been able to build a capacity, which we shall continue also to build progressively. But it is an expiry. We have the issues that were put in the contract as what happens at the point of expiry, and those we are working on them.
The Council of Governors and the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union have widely and extensively called for termination of the deal. Complaints were made about the lucrative remuneration the Cuban doctors have been receiving, including comprehensive medical coverage under the National Health Insurance Fund, with their utility bills totally covered.